A woman introduces herself as Jaina Yale of House Yale. She recalls marrying the cursed crown prince, Cecil Toronto. Their marriage was a political payment due to her lack of magic. Her father always favored her sister Eleanor and treated Jaina with contempt. Eleanor whines to her father, refusing to marry the cursed prince. Her family forced Jaina into the marriage, ordering her to act as a spy. Her only value was to help overthrow Cecil for the second prince. But nobody knew her true feelings. Used as a puppet, she found her wedding day her happiest moment. Prince Cecil extends his hand, calling her name. The bride looks forward, her expression resolute. He gently takes her hand. She resolves to love him, regardless of his curse. She vows to be a loyal wife, defying her family's plot. A deep rift had already formed as Cecil declared their marriage political, demanding she take a contraceptive before their impending divorce. Despite his coldness, Jaina vowed to win his heart in the 3 months they had. A green-haired man tells a blonde woman that Jaina isn't like the rumors. The man teases a blushing Cecil about his growing feelings for Jaina. A woman with glasses tells a stunned Jaina that she's pregnant despite having taken contraceptives. Overjoyed, Jaina sees the baby as a gift and plans to tell Cecil. But her dreams shatter as Cecil confronts her with letters, accusing her of spying. He dismisses her A startled Jaina listens as Cecil coldly demands she get rid of the child. Heartbroken that he doesn't believe her, she cries out his name. To protect her unborn child, she resolves to run away. Fleeing with hope, she gives birth to twins as a baby cries. As Cecil's men search the city, she clutches a locket. Desperate, she entrusts one of her newborn sons to an old innkeeper. She fled, leaving her valuables and one child, planning to return for him. But the child was gone. The innkeeper tearfully apologizes, sending Jaina on a desperate search. 5 years later, Jaina lives a new life as a perfumer and mother. Her young son, Adele, asks if she's thinking about his lost brother. Adele hugs her, confidently promising they will find him. But she can't believe her fate. She finds herself returning to the very palace she fled. At the palace, a head maid confirms Jaina is the expected perfumer. The maid leads them through Cecil's estate, reminding her of his royal status. The maid issues a stern warning, revealing they are only allowed inside because the noise-hating prince is away. Jaina thanks her, noting to herself that Cecil hasn't changed. She instructs her son Adele to wait quietly and not undo his conch spell. The spell is necessary to hide Adele's true appearance, which perfectly mirrors his father, Cecil. She reflects on her purpose, therefore, work, and to find her lost son. Lost in thought, she whispers Cecil's name with a pained expression. 3 years ago, Cecil single-handedly won a war using his fire dragon magic. His bloody victory on the battlefield ensured no one would ever underestimate him again. Her thoughts are interrupted by panicked maids shouting that the young master is missing and Lord Cecil is returning. The maid curtly dismisses Jaina, who has no choice but to retreat. Meanwhile, Adele asks his small pet bird, Anne, when his mother will return. The bird suddenly takes flight and a startled Adele chases after it. He follows the bird into the garden and stops, finding another young boy, Theodore, there. The young boy Theodore Torrance hides, certain he'll be found soon. He sadly wonders why he's never allowed outside. Suddenly, Adele barrels toward him, shouting to move. Ouch. Adele falls, worrying his mother's conch spell will break. As the magic fades, he panics that his true form will be revealed. Adele stares in wide-eyed shock, wondering what this means. Theodore demands to know who Adele is and why they share the same face, while Adele feels like he's staring into a mirror. As Adele frets over the broken spell, Theodore tells him to calm down. After hearing the story, Theodore understands what happened. Adele gets an idea. Since they look identical, they should switch places. He proposes a 3-day swap so Theodore can finally go outside. Theodore happily agrees to the plan. He formally introduces himself as Theodore Toronto. Adele introduces himself and offers to lend Theodore his bird, Anne. He explains they can use Anne to exchange letters during the swap. Adele laughs, overjoyed their plan is coming together. With Anne on his shoulder, Theodore sincerely thanks Adele. Meanwhile, Jaina searches outside, calling for her son. She begins to panic, knowing Adele has never wandered off alone. She fears Cecil will return and discover Adele, taking everything from her. A nervous boy in a hood faces a tearful, blonde-haired woman. Relieved, Jaina spots the boy she thinks is her son and calls out, "Adele?" She sweeps the boy into a tight hug, but the startled Theodore stammers, "Mama?" Her embrace tightens as she stares intensely at the child. Jaina gently holds his face, and he timidly asks, "Really?" She softly tells him it's time to go home, as he thinks how kind his mother is. Inside, Cecil furiously demands to know where Theodore is. He looms over his terrified staff, radiating cold anger. A maid reports the only visitor was a female perfumer, and Cecil orders her brought for interrogation. The staff trembles and obeys as Cecil's gaze hardens. A sudden wave of pain strikes Cecil, making him clutch his chest. A gray-haired man rushes to Cecil's side, asking if his curse is acting up again. The man asks if there's any news on the Master of Purification. A vision appears of a woman in a bridal veil. Though the clans have failed to find her, Cecil clutches his head in anguish. His aide then asks about the search for Jaina. Pained, Cecil wonders how long she plans to keep running from him. He recalls the strange circumstances of her disappearance, questioning if he was wrong all along. Cecil commands his aide to find her immediately. As Jaina tries to leave, the head maid stops her, accusing her of stealing valuables. Jaina calmly demands proof while the maid panics, needing to act before Adel's broken spell is noticed. The maid dismisses her protests and demands she obey. As the maid reaches for the child, Jaina realizes she might know the truth. Jaina slaps her hand away, warning her not to touch the boy. Enraged, the maid questions how a commoner dares defy her. Jaina protectively holds the boy, realizing the maid's cruelty hasn't changed since her exile. She remembers them gossiping about her being a temporary princess and a spy. In the past, the maids feared getting on her bad side would anger the prince. But Jaina is no longer that frightened girl. She now has something precious to protect, ignoring the maid's call to seize her. The head maid scoffs, but Jaina coolly reveals she was summoned by the butler for a high-ranking client. Jaina states that the child is already lost and terrified within the palace. Clutching the boy, she threatens to never craft another sachet for them if they persist. The maid bristles, thinking Jaina carries herself like a noble, despite being a commoner. Having won the confrontation, Jaina announces she is taking her leave. As Jaina walks toward a carriage, the maid calls out, realizing the sachet was for Cecil. Inside the carriage, the boy she's holding softly asks, "Mama?" Jaina smiles warmly, reassuring him that everything is all right and they're going home. Just then, Cecil arrives, and the head maid frantically reports the perfumer has a child identical to the young master. Cecil's gaze falls upon the carriage window, seeing Jaina's reflection holding the child. Their eyes meet, and she realizes with a jolt that 5 years have passed, her heart pounding with joy and dread. A guard orders her out of the carriage as she thinks how Cecil still shines so brightly. Reminding herself she's just a commoner now, she resolves to protect Adele at all costs. Jaina steps out, claiming the child needs a clinic for a pollen sensitivity. Cecil glares intensely, his voice cutting through the air as he commands her to come out. He orders his guards to bring her out as the head maid nervously complies. A hand reaches for the carriage door as Jaina shields the frightened boy. Suddenly, Cecil's aide rushes in, announcing that the young master has been located. Cecil pauses, his expression unreadable, as he stares at Jaina's reflection in the window. After a tense moment, he turns away and orders his men, "Let's go." Jaina reflects on her years spent searching for her lost child on the city's outskirts. She recalls becoming a perfumer, only to discover her new client was the palace butler. Panicked, Jaina urges the coachman to leave before Cecil discovers Adol. As the carriage lurches away, she looks back at Cecil, considering another escape. The boy looks up with concern, asking if his mama is okay. She turns back to him with a gentle expression, reassuring him that she's fine. As she strokes his hair, she thinks that seeing her precious Adele is enough to make all her worries disappear completely. Theodore grows nervous, silently wondering if she has noticed the switch yet. Trying to create a distraction, he quickly declares that he's hungry. Jaina smiles lovingly, caressing his cheek in a tender moment. Blushing, the boy timidly asks if it is really okay for him to eat. She promises him all the pies and cakes he wants, her eyes sparkling with affection. Overjoyed, Theodore wonders to himself if this is what having a mother feels like. Back at the palace, Adele faces Cecil as a maid explains that the young master got lost. Cecil looks down at the boy, his expression impassive as he asks, "Is that so?" Adele nervously recalls Theodore's warning that their father is strict and dislikes children. As a maid tries to lead him to his studies, Adele clenches his fists with determination. He grabs Cecil's cape, calling him father and hoping to mend their relationship. With wide, pleading eyes, Adel asks if they can walk in the garden together. A maid protests, but Adele clings tightly, his puppy dog eyes fixed on his father. The other maids watch in terror, anticipating Cecil's anger. To everyone's surprise, Cecil simply agrees. The maids are shocked that the gruff prince listened to a request, while Adele beams with victory. A moment of regret hits Adele as he realizes what he's just done. He sits nervously across from his father as maids serve tea and desserts. Overwhelmed by Cecil's intimidating aura, Adel trembles, wondering how to get closer to him. Noticing the boy hasn't touched his food, Cecil asks why he isn't eating. A terrified maid immediately falls to the floor, begging for forgiveness and offering to remake everything. Adele quickly defends the maid, saying he will eat, and takes a determined bite of pastry. Adel nervously shoves food in his mouth as Cecil stares silently. He stops eating, confused, wondering if his father just smiled at him. As Cecil sips his tea, Adel thinks the smile vanished so quickly he must have imagined it. He has an idea, thinking, "Oh, right." Adele grabs his father's sleeve, calling out to him. He happily offers Cecil a flower, saying he looks kind when he smiles. Cecil smirks, amused by the word kind. He rejects the gift, stating he has no use for kindness and flowers are wasted on him. A dejected Adele fidgets shyly. Suddenly, a gloved hand pats his head, and he panics, thinking he's been caught. Cecil tells him to eat well and promises to measure his height next time they meet. The scene transitions to Jaina's home at sunset. Meanwhile, Theodore happily eats a delicious pastry. He thanks his mama for the wonderful meal as she gently wipes his face. Jaina reflects on her old friend Irina, who helped her get an invitation to a fragrance exhibition. She recalls Irina's hope that a sale would fund their escape, but Jaina worries her savings are still too low. Jaina fears that another encounter with Cecil would mean Adele would have to wait all alone. Theodore asks his mother if she is going to work, and she confirms. He promises to be a good boy and not open the door for strangers while she's away. Jaina smiles, gently patting his head. She gives him a farewell kiss on the cheek, telling him she's leaving now. At a fragrance exhibition, two noble women gossip behind a fan. Jaina, in a masked disguise, presents her latest perfume creation. Her unique, layered scent is praised by an onlooker. A woman with reddish-brown hair scoffs, assuming the masked perfumer is some homely girl from the countryside. The woman smugly challenges Jaina to reveal her face if she's a real noble. Jaina calmly states she is not a noble, but a small-town perfumer using simple ingredients. After the woman mocks her cheap scent, Jaina counters that a fragrance's true power is reaching the heart. She explains her philosophy is to create comforting, balanced scents, as anything overly sweet feels empty. The gossiping ladies identify the rude woman as Lady Lilia, known for her temper and unrequited love for the prince. Enraged, Lady Lilia accuses Jaina of mocking her, calling her a country bumpkin. As Lilia raises her hand to strike, Cecil appears and grabs her wrist, shocking the crowd. Jaina stares in shock, her heart pounding as she recognizes Cecil. Cecil coldly dismisses Lilia, telling her to disappear. Jaina panics, shocked to have run into him again so soon. He holds out her dropped perfume bottle. Cecil comments on the perfume's striking scent, as Jaina desperately thinks she must get away. He corners her against a table, asking if she will sell it to him. Leaning closer, he asks if she is scared of him. He then asks a startling question. "Have we ever met before?" Jaina denies it, claiming to be just a commoner overwhelmed by his presence. She pulls her hand away, refusing to sell him any perfume. Cecil watches her intently, his expression unreadable. He simply asks her why. Jaina clutches her hands, her distress clear even behind the mask. She sets an impossible condition. He must name the perfume's main ingredient, secretly planning to refuse the sale regardless. Cecil calls her arrogant before calmly identifying the main floral ingredient, freesia. Jaina is stunned, her eyes wide as she wonders if he actually remembers their past. She recalls their brief, loveless political marriage broken by her family. The scene fades to the quiet, sunlit gardens of a grand estate. In a sunlit garden, Jaina happily plans to make scented sachets for a special someone. Suddenly, a man's voice asks what she is doing, startling her. She turns in shock, addressing him as Your Highness, and wondering how he snuck up on her. She instinctively takes a step back in surprise. As she stumbles, he catches her, pulling her close. He leans in, asking her what she is hiding. Flustered, Jaina blurts out that she's preparing a present for him. She proudly shows him a basket of flowers she grew from seeds. A wave of regret hits her as she realizes he probably won't care. Her hand is pricked by a thorn as she pulls the basket back, but she dismisses the minor injury. He gently takes her hand, his intense gaze fixed on the small wound. Jaina blushes as he continues to hold her hand. She averts her gaze, her face flushed with emotion. He abruptly tells her to go back to her room, to which she quietly agrees. As he turns to leave, he suddenly clutches his chest in pain, letting out a grunt. He collapses to the ground as Jaina cries out his title in alarm. She rushes to his side, but he orders her to take him to his room and keep it a secret. The scene transitions to that evening. In his room, their hands remain clasped together. He warns her not to tell her father about what happened today.
Jaina promises to be useful and keep his secret, but he groans as his headache worsens.
She suddenly remembers that freesia is an effective remedy for headaches. Realizing the flower's calming properties, she prepares a scented sachet. Jaina gently places the freesia sachet on his forehead to ease his pain. Watching over him, she resigns herself to the fact that he'll never love her, because she's from the Yale family. As he sleeps, he softly murmurs her name, Jaina. His eyes flutter open, and he calls the red mark on her hand beautiful, making her heart pound. She blushes deeply, unable to meet his gaze. A montage of memories flashes by, showing his vow to never hurt her, affirming her long-held love. The next morning, Cecil wakes up alone, disoriented. He finds the sachet and a note from Jaina Yale, wishing him good health and promising to keep his secret. A memory of her caring for him surfaces as he considers her gesture. Back in the present, a masked Jaina wonders if Cecil still suffers from those headaches. She clenches her fist, determined not to repeat her past mistakes. Cecil demands she return to the mansion and teach him perfumery, making her feel used once again. Jaina tries to escape, feigning illness to excuse herself. He quickly grabs her wrist, refusing to let her leave. Cecil smirks, threatening to drag her there by force if she resists. She desperately pleads with him to let her go. As she struggles, she notices a small red birthmark on her hand near his collar. His eyes widen in a flash of recognition as he stares at her. He pulls her close, his expression intense and questioning. A new voice interrupts, mocking the crown prince for causing a scene. The newcomer is identified as the son of House Yale, and Jaina panics, recognizing her brother. An introduction reveals him as Casey Yale, Jaina's half-brother, who confronts the prince about his sister. Casey stares down the prince with a condescending smile. Onlookers gossip about Jaina's short-lived marriage to the prince 5 years ago and Casey's resulting enmity. Trapped between the two men, Jaina frantically thinks that her identity must not be revealed. Casey smirks, noting how pitiful his struggling sister appears.
Cecil glares, his expression turning cold and dangerous.
Casey coldly asks if Cecil is accusing him of sending Jaina as a spy. In a memory, Jaina's father orders her to report on the crown prince's every move, but she questions his intent. She argues that the second prince is just as capable, questioning her father's desperate push. Casey interrupts, telling Jaina to ignore her emotions and remember that their family's power depends on this. Jaina tears up, recalling the pervasive rumor that the crown prince is cursed. Her brother promises to bring her back from the marriage soon and find her a proper husband. As Casey promises she'll remain the treasured daughter of House Yale, Jaina thinks of the man she truly wants to marry. An image reveals Jaina as a puppet, her strings held by her controlling father and brother. Back in the present, having escaped their control, she vows never to make the same mistake again. A memory of Cecil's voice rings out, intensely calling her name. Jaina! A promotional banner is displayed. Cecil asks Casey if he's leaving, informing him that the king is sending the royal guard to investigate a corruption case tonight. He pointedly adds that the investigation concerns the mining operation Casey has been overseeing. Casey dismissively tells Cecil to move, but Cecil taunts him about his fleeting arrogance. An aide informs Casey that the second prince is summoning him, also revealing a spy's report that Cecil's illness is worsening. Casey smirks confidently, thinking that everything is unfolding just as the second prince planned. An attendant approaches Cecil from behind, asking if he needs anything. Cecil fiercely orders his men to find the woman from the perfume event, determined not to let Jaina escape again. In a rural village, Jaina calls for Irina, who worries she couldn't sell the perfume and offers to find another way to fund their trip. Jaina panics, certain that Cecil has recognized her and desperately searches for an escape route. Irina provides a solution. Jaina can blend in with a group leaving to gather herbs in 3 days, and Jaina tearfully thanks her. Irina worries about the long journey and asks how Jaina plans to live with Lord Adele once they arrive. Clutching her dress, Jaina steals her resolve, deciding she must use that way. A small bird named Anne delivers a letter to Theodore, who lights up, realizing it's from Adel. Adele Theodore in disguise reads the letter and beams, happy that his father isn't scary and that no one has noticed their switch. He smiles, thinking to himself that his own mother hasn't noticed his absence yet either. A cute drawing shows the two boys together, happy about their secret plan.
Theodore blushes as he reads Adele's plan to get their parents together, complete with a hand-drawn map to meet at Moon Lake.
Upon returning home, Jaina is greeted by Adel and tells him they may have to leave the country.
Shocked, Adele realizes he must return to the palace in 2 days. Jaina asks if he needs to go somewhere, and he agrees.
At the palace, Cecil's men apologize profusely, admitting they couldn't track the masked woman in the crowd. Enraged, Cecil slams his fist down, calling his men useless and demanding they find her at any cost. Peeking from behind a door, Theodore flinches, startled by his father's sudden outburst. He thinks he came at a bad time and tries to slip away, but stops short when his father calls out, "Theodore." Startled by the use of his real name, he trips and falls with a loud ouch. Cecil looms over him, asking why he's still awake, and the boy replies that he was waiting to talk. Noticing the boy's scraped knee, Cecil tells him it's late and that they can handle it tomorrow. A charming illustration shows Cecil gently lifting the small boy. Theodore insists he must speak now, as he won't be able to see his father tomorrow. He grabs his father's cape with determination, looking up with wide, pleading eyes. The boy explains he wants to see the fireflies at Moon Lake, a request that puzzles Cecil. To the boy's delight, Cecil simply says, "All right." Theodore cheers, happy to have secured a promise just as a maid arrives to take him to bed. He happily waves goodnight, reminding his father that promise breakers are thieves. As the boy walks off, Cecil watches with a suspicious glint in his eye. An attendant comments on how energetic the young master has become, noting he's no longer afraid of His Majesty. Cecil quietly observes that his son was never this affectionate before. He then thoughtfully suggests they hunt a big bear for Theodore to play with, much to his attendant's horror. Child-rearing level, expert. The flustered attendant agrees, wondering how to explain that real bears aren't suitable playmates as Cecil walks away, teddy bear in hand. In a different location, a man named Aaron is looking for a healer, but another man scoffs that he doesn't look like a magic user. A stern-looking guard dismissively tells another man to leave. A cloaked Jaina offers information about someone who can use purification magic. The guard scoffs, doubting her claim about knowing such a rare magic user. The other guard offers her tea, but Jaina nervously spots the Sias guard unit nearby. Suddenly changing plans, she hands over a note with an address for Aaron and rushes off. A red-haired man in a mask appears, addressed as boss by the startled guard. The guard reports that a woman with information on purification magic left a note for Aaron Odyssey, the black market boss. The scene transitions to a moonlit night by the trees. At Moon Lake, Cecil asks where Theodore is, and his attendant hands him a letter. Theodore's letter reveals a game of hide-and-seek, prompting Cecil to go search for him alone. The attendant startles, but quietly agrees to stay behind. With a determined look, Cecil sets off into the woods to find his son. Meanwhile, Jaina worries about the thick fog as she searches for Adel. Adele runs gleefully ahead while Jaina calls for him to wait. She hurries through the glowing forest, anxiously calling Adele's name. She bumps into Cecil, who looks down and mistakes her son for Theodore. Jaina apologizes, explaining she was looking for her child, and Cecil assures her he's fine. From the bushes, Adele and Theodore watch, happy that their parents look good together. The boys examine a jar of fireflies, the next step in their plan. As the fireflies are released, Cecil looks around and asks what they are. Jaina blushes, whispering that the sight is beautiful. She stands beside Cecil, captivated by the magical glow of the fireflies. Jaina explains she was playing hide-and-seek, and Cecil replies that his son is doing the same. He fondly recounts his son's various hobbies, sighing that he's always up to something reckless. When asked if it's hard, Jaina admits it is, but says her son's cuteness makes it all worthwhile. Cecil thoughtfully agrees as a small image of Theodore calling for his father appears. He suddenly pulls her to safety, shouting a warning. He offers her a walking stick, suggesting it will make it easier to walk. Jaina accepts, her heart pounding as she recognizes his hidden kindness.
Cecil gently asks about the father of her child.
Jaina explains her circumstances are complicated, but she is raising her son alone with love.
Cecil is struck by her strong will, which reminds him of the past.
A memory surfaces of him watching a noble lady working tirelessly in a garden.
He recalls being surprised by her skill with a hoe, so unlike her delicate appearance.
In his memory, a younger Jaina wipes sweat from her brow as he watches from afar. He remembers overhearing her wish to make perfume to help His Highness sleep well.
He realized with a jolt that she was doing it all for him.
The memory of his pounding heart resurfaces. Flustered, Cecil realizes he fell in love with Jaina back then, but now she's gone.
Seeing his reaction, Jaina worriedly asks if she said something rude. She clarifies that his kindness was just unexpected, trying to hide her own feelings.
Cecil smiles, hoping she'll share her parenting stories with him someday, and she agrees.
The boys celebrate in the bushes, thrilled their parent trap plan is working. As they prepare to leave, Theodore asks Adele if he will visit again.
Theodore blushes and promises he will, because they're friends.
Adele deems, promising to visit in secret. Adele runs back to his mother, but Jaina warns him not to run so fast.
In her haste, she suddenly stumbles. Cecil's eyes glow as he shouts for her to watch out.
He swiftly catches her, pulling her into a protective embrace.
He apologizes for bumping into her, but she says she's fine.
Badump. Cecil's heart pounds as he wonders why his body doesn't reject her touch.
Jaina recognizes him, thinking his name in shock.
Cecil?
Blushing in his arms, she tells herself not to indulge in fantasies and to get a grip as she's leaving tomorrow.
An attendant's voice calls out, "Your Highness," and Jaina panics, thinking, "No way." The attendant rushes to Cecil's side, formally addressing him. Cecil asks Jaina if she has found the child, but she replies, "Not yet." Realizing it was Cecil after all, Jaina resolves to escape before the fog clears.
Cecil orders his attendant to also search for the woman's child.
The confused attendant asks whom he means by this woman. Cecil holds up a glowing medal, identifying it as a symbol of rank. He recalls that when he married Jaina, one medal was given to Theodore and the other to her, leading to a shocking realization. That woman was Jaina. The attendant asks what's wrong, as Cecil notices a lavender scent on the medal, knowing only one village on the outskirts cultivates it. With cold fury, Cecil orders his men to immediately surround the lavender village and prevent anyone from leaving. Arriving at Jaina's village, he commands his men to wait for his signal and not harm anyone, deciding to enter alone. He steps into a simple room, questioning if Jaina truly lives in such a humble place.
Holding a small perfume bottle, he notes that its scent still has a way of calming him.
He muses that she still loves making perfumes, remembering she was never like other nobles who cared for social events. He realizes she cut ties with her family and survived by selling perfume, concluding she must have suffered greatly.
His eyes widen in shock as he notices something, questioning if it's a child's item.
Thump! He sees Jaina holding a small child as his gaze falls on a pink stuffed rabbit on the floor. Jaina freezes in terror, her heart pounding as she wonders how he found her. The small child in her arms looks up, calling for his mama.
Cecil corners her, stating that the village is surrounded and she has nowhere to hide.
He insists he only came to talk, but Jaina worries he found out about Adel and means to harm him.
As Cecil begins to speak about the child, Jaina defiantly shouts that the child has nothing to do with him. She declares fiercely, "She is my child," as Cecil looks on silently. Peeking from his room, Adele is startled, wondering why Theodore's dad is here. Jaina gently tells her son she needs to talk with the man and asks him to go back to his room.
After the boy agrees, Cecil walks with Jaina down the quiet village street, asking if she's been well.
Jaina says she's been fine but is leaving tomorrow, attempting to end the conversation. Cecil grabs her arm, stopping her, and tells her he's been searching for her all this time, pleading for her to return to the palace. He says that he and Theodore have been waiting, hoping they can finally be a family again. Jaina angrily reminds him their families are enemies and that he will only end up doubting her again. He tries to explain that he misunderstood her, but she dismisses it, telling him she doesn't need his pity now. Through tears, Jaina proclaims she is finally living a life where she doesn't have to flatter anyone. She coldly informs him she no longer has feelings for him, so he can rest easy. He shouts, "Wait!" and pulls her into a desperate embrace, promising she'll never suffer again and that he'll accept the child, no matter who the father is. Jaina panics internally, realizing that if her father discovers Adel's true identity, the boy will be used against Cecil. Her thoughts race with fear that their lives will be endangered by imperial disputes, and she can't bear to lose another child. Jaina shoves him away, shouting that she's not going back and reminding him that he was the one who divorced her. As she declares it's over, he thinks, "Our child is still." Their tense standoff is interrupted by a woman approaching from behind. Irina steps between them, asking Prince Cecil why he is here and telling him to leave. But he insists he only wants to take Jaina back. Irina accuses him of threatening Jaina and offers to call the villagers as witnesses, while Cecil desperately offers to grant any wish if she'll just return. Irina furiously recounts how he branded Jaina a spy and cast her out, questioning how he can now speak of love after the life she's endured. She fiercely concludes that he has no right to trample on Jaina's life any further. As Cecil turns to leave, offering Jaina a place to stay, he desperately calls for her to wait. He begs her for just 3 months, pleading that even a death row prisoner gets a chance to defend themselves. Jaina is visibly shaken, unable to hide her inner turmoil as she thinks she can't stand the thought of never seeing him again. Holding her hand gently, he looks at her with pleading eyes, whispering, "So please." Adele blushes, wondering if Theodore's dad has known his mama for a long time. He clenches his fists, realizing with a gasp that Cecil must have always liked her. Yippee! Overjoyed! Adele celebrates this revelation. Meanwhile, palace gossip spreads about His Highness's infatuation with a village woman. A maid whispers that he's been absent-minded and moody since returning from the village. Another woman silences the gossiping maid as Cecil listens silently from his chair. His attendant worriedly pours him tea. Cecil awkwardly asks for advice on how a friend can make up with his angered wife. The attendant sees through the ruse, asking if he's talking about himself and the girl from the perfume event. He suggests giving her a gift of jewelry, which is popular with the ladies of the capital. Cecil pictures Jaina standing serene and beautiful amongst the flowers. He dismisses the idea, stating that she's different and uninterested in such things. He adds the complication that she has a child, shocking his attendant, who thinks his tastes are unusual. The attendant pivots, suggesting a toy that could please both mother and child. Cecil orders him to buy every toy a little girl might like and to retrieve rare night glow pearls from the treasury. He commands the gifts be sent to the Irina clinic, leaving his attendant stunned as he hurries to obey. Later, Cecil asks a maid about Theodore, who reports the boy has been studying quietly in his room since Moon Lake. Cecil falls into a thoughtful silence, contemplating his son's behavior. Entering his son's room, he startles Theodore, who stammers, "Father?" Theodore stands nervously, his small hands clasped together. Cecil gently tells his son he can call him Dad when they're alone. He thinks to himself that perhaps it's truly better for a child to have a mother. Theodore explains he was writing to Adele, prompting Cecil to ask directly if he wants a mother.
Theodore panics, worried their plan failed, and that his father now likes someone else.
He stammers, unable to answer his father's question.
Theodore resolves internally that he must write to Adele right away.
The scene shifts to the Irina clinic, where Adele excitedly asks his mom about a room full of presents.
Standing with Irina, Jaina looks at the gifts and thinks she knows who sent them.
Irina tells Jaina to let Adel enjoy the toys and asks if she's decided to stay.
Jaina agrees to stay for 3 months, admitting her true purpose is to find her other child.
Irina then presents a letter with a red wax seal that arrived the day before.
Jaina and Irina examine the letter, hoping it's a lead on the child from Mr. Aaron. A narrator describes Mr. Aaron as a ruthless information broker who deals in everything from murder to poison. Irina explains he's a powerful figure with mysterious connections to both the underworld and high society.
She worries that Aaron already knows about the search, and Jaina privately tells herself to be careful.
Jaina reads the letter. Aaron will search for the child if she cures a duke's daughter suffering from magical backlash. She resolves to become stronger than a simple perfumer in order to protect Adele. Elsewhere, a maid prepares Eleanor Yale for a banquet, calling her the prettiest woman in the capital.
Eleanor hopes Prince Cecil will attend and finally notice her.
Her maid is surprised, reminding her that she once despised Cecil as her family's rival.
Eleanor scoffs, noting he is now the likely successor to the throne, unlike when her sister married him.
Believing Cecil should have married her, she vows to win him back from her sister.
Full of confidence, she boasts that she can easily sway her father and brother to her side.
The maid relays a rumor that the prince is infatuated with a village woman and has even gifted her jewels.
Enraged, Eleanor's eyes glow red as she smashes a teacup, shouting at her maid.
A small bird named Anne arrives, carrying a letter in its beak.
Reading the letter, Adele is shocked that Theodore's dad is getting involved with another woman.
He panics, realizing he must clear up the misunderstanding between their parents immediately. Jaina gently opens his door, calling his name. She lovingly strokes Adele's head as he looks up at her. Adele smiles sweetly, promising to wait for his mother.
At the duchy, Jaina completes her maid disguise, hoping her plan to fix things for the family succeeds.
The disguised Jaina dismisses other maids, planning to follow them to meet Lady Marie. She trails the group of maids down a grand hallway. The scene shifts to a bustling, lavish party hall.
Hiding under a table, Adel peeks out, wondering where his mama is.
Wah! Spying a tray of delicious desserts, he excitedly exclaims, "Yum!" A group of men admires the stunning Lady Eleanor Yale, wishing they could ask her for a dance. As a man toasts with an older gentleman, Eleanor watches from afar with a confident smirk and glowing red eyes. She dismisses the rumors about His Highness, certain she is the only one worthy of him. Bam! Overwhelmed by the strong perfumes, Adel stumbles while trying to get fresh air and collides with someone. The collision spills a drink on Eleanor's dress, and she furiously demands to know whose annoying child is judging her from the floor. Eleanor laments her ruined birthday dress, doubting the stain will ever wash out. An unseen guest scolds the child, who tearfully apologizes and says his mama isn't there. As a man asks what's wrong, Eleanor gasps, claiming her cherished bracelet from her brother has vanished. A man accuses the child of being a thief who snuck into the party. Wah! Another man grabs Adele's arm, accusing him of theft and threatening to call the guards as the boy cries that he's innocent. As Adele sobs for his mama, a stern voice commands, "Let go of that child." Adele is suddenly lifted into the air by his rescuer. Cecil holds the child protectively, asking if he's okay, and Adele recognizes him as Theodore's father.
Holding Adele, Cecil coldly informs a stunned Eleanor that he will compensate her for the dress.
Adele trembles and whimpers in Cecil's embrace. The frightened child buries his face in Cecil's shoulder.
Cecil looks down at the child with a pensive expression. Though the child isn't his usual type, Cecil feels a strange familiarity as an attendant offers jewels to appease Lady Eleanor. Eleanor is secretly thrilled at the prospect of being compensated directly by Lord Cecil. Cecil glares at Eleanor, asking if she'd rather the small child pay for the dress. She hastily denies it.
Peeking out, Adele defends his rescuer, shouting, "Father, this person is lying," leaving Cecil stunned by the name.
Cecil turns his head, his sharp gaze fixed on the boy. Adele covers his mouth in shock, realizing he accidentally used the way he speaks when pretending to be Theodore.
Across the hall, a cloaked Jaina worries that the young lady's illness is worsening and resolves to leave the chaotic party. She freezes in shock, spotting Cecil holding Adele and wondering why they're together.
Mama!
Adele cries with relief as Jaina rushes forward to embrace him. Jaina glares back at a frustrated Eleanor as Cecil walks away with the woman he's clearly taken an interest in. Jaina's eyes narrow with determination. Holding Adele tightly, Jaina carries him away through the crowd. Cecil quietly calls Jaina's name as she departs, while Eleanor tries to ask him for a dance. He violently slaps her hand away, warning her not to touch him, leaving her shocked. As guests whisper about Cecil's rejection of Lady Eleanor, she furiously wonders if the mysterious woman is the village girl from the rumors. Eleanor commands her maid to investigate the woman and her child.
In a private room, Adele cries that his knee hurts.
While Jaina tends to the scrape, Cecil explains he brought effective medicine from the court physician. A clever idea pops into Adele's head. Adele pouts, asking for the Mr. to blow on his hurt knee, while Jaina encourages him to be brave. He insists, "No, I want the Mr. and Mama to do it together." Jaina thinks that since he's clinging to a stranger, the pain must be quite severe. Cecil surprisingly agrees to the child's request. Adele beams, his plan a success. Cecil gently tends to the boy's knee. He then offers a small bag to Adele as a reward for being so brave. Adele beams as he thanks the Mr. Jaina wonders if their instant connection is the bond of blood. Cecil realizes the boy's wound is identical to Theodore's. Jaina thanks Cecil and prepares to take Adele home. He stops her, demanding she take responsibility for leaving him without a dance partner. Cecil asks her to stay with him for the evening. Jaina blushes, flustered by his forward request. Thinking his name, she's left speechless by his invitation to stay. Jaina privately reasons that he could easily find another partner.
Adele pipes up, insisting his mama must help the Mr. in return.
He reminds Jaina of her own lesson about repaying kindness. To tempt them, Cecil mentions the exquisite desserts from the palace chefs. Adele's eyes sparkle at the sight of the beautiful desserts. He eagerly begs his mama to let him have some. Facing her rival, Jaina strengthens her resolve. A maid presents a beautiful dress that Cecil had prepared for her. Adele excitedly calls the dress cute as Jaina stares in surprise. Blushing, Jaina wonders why he prepared a dress in advance. A guest remarks that the village girl carries herself like a noble.
Cecil watches her, hoping she will agree to dance with him.
He turns away with a slight, hopeful blush. Wearing a mask and a stunning gown, Jaina makes her entrance. She greets the Duke of Middle with perfect etiquette. Poised and elegant, she awaits her next move. Cecil takes her hand, leading her into the dance. He leans in, warning her not to dance with other men. She calmly assures him they will leave after the party. A small, satisfied smile plays on Cecil's lips. They lock eyes, sharing an intense moment on the dance floor. The couple glides gracefully together as guests watch. He dips her low, their faces close together.
A delighted Adel wishes Theodore could see how great they look together.
Fuming from afar, Eleanor can't believe he's snubbing her for another woman.
Humiliated, Eleanor trembles as gossip swirls around her.
Calling her maid useless, Eleanor listens as she's told the woman isn't on the guest list, fueling her suspicion.
Eleanor orders her maid to bribe someone to make Cecil despise Jaina.
The Duke interrupts their dance, asking them to join him in a private room. When the Duke asks for her invitation, Jaina admits she doesn't have one. He accuses her of being the one who entered his daughter's room.
A maid suddenly appears, accusing Jaina of poisoning the Duke's daughter.
Jaina calmly assesses that the blood isn't fresh, meaning the girl isn't in immediate danger. Jaina explains she only offered a scented sachet to help Lady Marie recover. In a flashback, the maid reassures the Duke of the sachet's calming effect, then questions Jaina's true intentions.
Eleanor smirks from a distance, confident her flawless plan is working.
The maid plants a seed of doubt, suggesting they have the sachet examined for harmful ingredients. The Duke agrees, and upon examination, a woman declares the sachet contains poisonous oleander pollen. Shocked, Jaina insists she never put any poison inside. The furious Duke accuses her of attempted murder and orders her seized. Cecil steps forward to protect Jaina, but the Duke threatens their alliance over the matter. Cecil's gaze is unwavering as he prepares to defend her. Cecil defends Jaina's honor, prioritizing Lady Marie and arranging for a court physician. At the Duke's estate, Cecil vows to protect Jaina as she realizes he wants her by his side. Jaina takes a quiet moment, telling herself to stop overthinking the situation. The Duke accuses Cecil of letting feelings interfere with his duty, but Cecil coolly questions his authority. Jaina stands firm, confident that once Lady Marie awakens, her innocence will be proven. Cecil suddenly grabs her, declaring she's still his dance partner for the evening. As Cecil holds her, Jaina pushes back, declaring she has grown strong on her own in the past 5 years and doesn't need his help. A flash of intense emotion shows in Cecil's piercing blue eye. Just then, an attendant bursts in to announce that the young lady has awakened. The Duke rushes to his daughter Marie, holding her and asking if she's all right. Under a magical compulsion, the treacherous maid confesses to framing Jaina, shocked that she can't control her own words. The Duke witnesses Marie's recovered magic with astonishment, hailing it as a miracle before ordering the lying maid to be taken away. Jaina expresses her relief to Marie, glad to see she has awoken with her special magic. Jaina smiles warmly, telling the young girl how wonderful it is to see her well again. Marie responds with a joyful, heartwarming smile. Looking on, Jaina smiles behind her mask and simply says, "You're welcome." On the carriage ride home, Adel wonders if his mom and the Mr. were fighting. Adele asks if the Mr. protected his mom, and Cecil clarifies that a magical girl did. Adele's eyes fill with sparkling wonder at the thought of magic. Cecil demonstrates, conjuring a brilliant blue gemstone and calling it magic. Thrilled, Adele exclaims to his mother that he wants to use magic too. Jaina considers this, recalling that while nobles are born with magic, some awaken it later. She worries that Adele's childhood illness prevented his awakening, but hopes it can still be triggered. To do so, Jaina realizes she must find her child a teacher with powerful magical control. Cecil seizes the opportunity, offering to teach the boy himself, to Adele's delight. Adele begs his mom for permission, but she hesitates, saying Cecil is too busy. Jaina offers to find another teacher, but Adel tearfully insists he only wants to learn from him. Crying, Adel asks Cecil if he can repay him some other way, as he has no money. With determination, Adele declares he wants to learn magic to protect his mom. Jaina is touched, remembering the hardships they faced, and realizing Adel wants to shield her from them.
Cecil proposes a deal. He'll teach Adele if Jaina agrees to make him scented sachets again.
He adds a threat, warning he'll ban all other mages from teaching Adele if she refuses.
Jaina reacts with fury, accusing him of threatening her.
Cecil smirks, arguing it's the best option and boasting that no one is stronger than him.
Annoyed by his arrogance, Jaina internally admits that he has a point. As the carriage prepares to depart, Cecil promises to see them again next week. For Adele's sake, Jaina accepts the deal as her son cheerfully waves goodbye.
Crash. Back at the Yale estate, Eleanor smashes something, furiously demanding to know if Cecil noticed her.
Eleanor confronts Cecil, feigning concern over the incident with the village girl. Surrounded by dark, thorny roses, Cecil coldly dismisses her fake worries and tells her to know her place.
Later, Eleanor rages at her maid's report, refusing to believe Cecil hasn't noticed something is amiss.
Grabbing the maid's face, a menacing Eleanor calls her useless and asks what punishment she deserves.
The maid placates her, reasoning that since Jaina and Adele haven't been summoned to the palace, Eleanor is free to act against them.
Eleanor's anger subsides into a faint, cruel smile as she agrees.
With glowing red eyes, she decides they are merely tools to relieve her stress.
At the Crown Prince's residence, an attendant approaches a pensive Cecil.
Cecil and his attendant discuss Lady Marie's miraculous recovery, finding it highly suspicious after her long illness.
Convinced the Master of Purification is involved, Cecil orders an investigation into everyone at the party.
Elsewhere, a woman informs Jaina that Lady Marie has successfully awakened, much to Jaina's delight.
However, the woman adds that she visited the prince's residence and his condition seems unfavorable, leaving Jaina concerned.
A blonde-haired woman notes Prince Cecil seems different but remains hungry for power.
In a flashback, a woman encourages a pregnant, pink-haired Lady Jaina to tell Prince Cecil about their child.
Jaina agrees, deciding to tell him after his birthday party is over. Later, she wonders if Lord Casey will believe the story she's been told.
Cecil explains that the Yale family intends to use Jaina to bring him down. He orders an underling to spread false information to Casey's subordinates. Cecil reveals his plan to use a fake document, claiming he's planning a rebellion. The plan is to frame Jaina by sending the document in her name, making her a disposable pawn. Jaina's heart aches as she wonders if Cecil's recent kindness was all a lie. Remembering their time together, she realizes she was a fool to think he cared for her. Cecil coldly dismisses Jaina, banishing her for being unable to use magic. Shocked and heartbroken, Jaina collapses to the floor. With her child as her only comfort, Jaina accepts her fate as Cecil thinks he cannot protect her. The brown-haired woman warns a distraught Jaina not to trust Prince Cecil again. Jaina places a hand on her friend's, reassuring her by saying, "Irina, it's all right." Irina embraces her, hoping she can start a new life away from the prince in 3 months. Jaina and Irina watch over a sleeping Adel, who giggles as he dreams of magic. They wonder how she snuck into the Duke's residence and comment on her current strength. In a sudden flashback, Jaina cries for Irina's help as she holds a feverish baby Adel. A voice explains that baby Adel's dragon blood magic is too much for him, and only purification magic can save him. Adele's fever raged for 3 days, while Jaina could only pray for a miracle. She desperately tended to her sick child, willing to give her life for his. Suddenly, a glowing golden energy appears before her tear-filled eyes. Surrounded by flowers, she questions the mysterious power enveloping her. The golden magic flows from Jaina's hands into her feverish son. Baby Adele awakens, healthy and calling for his mama, as Jaina decides to keep her new power a secret. In the present, Jaina strokes her sleeping son, thinking that with this, their deal is struck. The memory of a peacefully swaddled baby Adele brings the flashback to a close.
At the Crown Prince's estate, a stern woman with brown hair blocked Jaina and Adele, demanding they leave immediately. The woman rudely insists that Jaina is only a sachet maker and should not overstay her welcome at the palace.
Cecil's sudden arrival silences the woman's insults as he walks toward the pair with a calm, commanding presence.
Breaking into a bright smile, Adele calls out for her uncle as she prepares to greet the powerful prince. Cecil lifts Adele into his arms, coldly questioning the staff on why his invited guests are being harassed at the gate. The terrified maid cowers in fear as Cecil asserts his authority, ensuring Jaina and Adele are treated with respect. Cecil leads them inside while the brown-haired woman watches in silence, her previous arrogance completely shattered by his glare. Jaina is stunned to find that Cecil has prepared royal tutors and expensive musical instruments specifically for Adele's education. Adele's eyes sparkle with pure joy as she holds a small golden harp, marveling at the beautiful gift. Surrounded by vibrant flowers, Adele exclaims her excitement, remembering seeing such a pretty instrument through a shop window. Shadows fall over Jenna's face as she recalls the strict, punishing music lessons of her own noble childhood. Jaina gently touches Adele, resolving that her daughter will never be forced to endure the hardships of noble rules. With a protective gaze, Jaina declares that her daughter's happiness is the only thing that truly matters to her. Standing in the background, Cecil watches the intimate bond between mother and child with a somber, unreadable expression. Cecil abruptly orders the tutors to remove everything, his voice cold as he decides to end the traditional lessons. Cecil agrees with Jaina's sentiment, surprising her by stating that Adele doesn't need to learn such trivial noble arts. While a red-haired woman seethes in the distance, Cecil stares intensely at Jaina, his blue eyes filled with suspicion. A maid leads Jaina toward the greenhouse, leaving her worried about Adele being alone with the unpredictable prince. Jaina tries to calm her racing heart, telling herself that the temporary separation is necessary for her daughter's magic training. In a playful chibi moment, Adele sparkles with excitement, eager to begin her secret lesson with Cecil.
Behind closed doors, Cecil brings Adele to his private study, and the girl asks if they are starting magic.
Cecil holds out a large, brilliant red gem, instructing Adele to focus her mind and imagine a powerful dragon. Adele closes her eyes in deep concentration, clutching the radiant jewel as she attempts to tap into her latent power. Jaina finishes her work quickly, anxious to reunite with Adele and leave the princess' estate as soon as possible. Panic strikes Jaina when she learns that Adele is in Cecil's secret room, a place full of dangerous dragon magic. Jaina rushes toward the study, her mind racing with fear that Cecil might have finally uncovered her daughter's true identity. At the Yale estate, a silver-haired man scolds a servant for failing to handle the situation at the duchy. Eleanor Yale throws herself into her brother's arms, tearfully complaining about the mysterious woman who insulted her noble status. The silver-haired man listens intently as Eleanor rants about being treated as inferior by a commoner with no rank. Eleanor begs her brother to take revenge, her face contorted with malice as she plots to destroy her rival. A dark, sinister smile spreads across Eleanor's face as her brother promises to make the mere villager regret her insolence. A sudden, sharp gotcha sounds as Jaina slams the door open, shouting her daughter's name in a frantic panic. Jaina bursts into the room, her eyes wide with alarm as she confronts Cecil and her startled daughter. Adele looks back at her mother with wide, innocent eyes, wondering if Jaina has also come to learn magic. Struggling to hide her fear, Jaina claims she only wanted to ensure that Adele was behaving herself during the lesson. Adele happily reaches out to her mother, showing off the glowing red magic stone that Cecil gave her. Adele looks downcast as the magic stone remains dark, fearing she lacks the talent expected of her bloodline. The mysterious gem is revealed to be a testing stone that specifically reacts to those carrying royal blood. Watching from a distance, Jaina wonders if her heart still secretly harbors expectations for Cecil's genuine paternal involvement. Jaina gently comforts her daughter, who tries to remain cheerful despite her disappointment over the failed magic test. Cecil appears startled when Jaina abruptly requests a private conversation, sensing the gravity of her suddenly serious mood. In a heartwarming memory, Adele shares a joyful embrace with her close friend, a mysterious black-haired boy. The two children frolic together in a sun-drenched garden, their innocent laughter filling the vibrant flower-filled meadow. The black-haired boy presents Adele with a shimmering blue conch, hoping she will accept his special parting gift. Adele enthusiastically explains that the magic conch allows friends to sense one another regardless of the distance between them.
A look of pure wonder crosses the boy's face as the conch shell begins to glow with magical energy. Expressing his deep gratitude, the young boy feels truly happy after receiving such a thoughtful and magical treasure. The children discuss their hopes that their parents will finally stop fighting so they can see each other more. Confident in his plan, the black-haired boy suggests that books might hold the secret to ending their parents' feud. The pair pores over an illustrated storybook together, searching for a way to bring their fractured families back together. Adele's innocent question about whether holding hands creates a baby leaves the young boy blushing and completely shell-shocked. Back in the present, Cecil insists his only motive is to genuinely understand and connect with his daughter, Adele. Jaina remains skeptical, her face shadowed as she reflects on the recurring pain Cecil has caused her in the past. Clenching her skirt in frustration, Jaina becomes convinced that Cecil only views their daughter as a useful political pawn. Turning to face him, Jaina warns the prince that his false kindness will only end up breaking Adele's heart. With cold determination, Jaina informs Cecil that she intends to depart the palace permanently with Adele in 3 months. Cecil desperately grabs Jaina's arm, vowing to train the child regardless of her bloodline just to keep them near. His composure crumbles as Cecil begs Jaina not to leave, his eyes filled with a rare and raw vulnerability. In a past memory, an advisor warns Cecil that political enemies are using Jaina to dismantle his royal authority. The aide acknowledges Cecil's deep affection, but stresses that Jaina's family is becoming a dangerous liability to the crown. Fearing for her safety, the advisor suggests Jaina's public dethronement is the only way to protect her from execution. Resigned to a painful choice, Cecil orders the necessary legal documents to officially remove Jaina from her royal position. Alone and haunted by his decision, Cecil swears he will never allow the Yale family to sacrifice Jaina's life. A fleeting, soft-hued memory of a past romantic moment flickers through Jaina's mind as she confronts the prince's touch. Reclaiming her autonomy, Jaina coldly severs their agreement and prepares to walk away from Cecil's presence for good. Searching for Adele in the garden, a sudden wave of dizziness strikes Jaina, causing her to lose her balance. Cecil quickly lunges forward to catch Jaina, his face etched with intense worry as she stumbles into his arms. Blaming himself for her exhaustion, Cecil promises to step back and stop interfering in Adele's upbringing from now on. A moment of tense intimacy lingers as Cecil gently reaches out, his eyes searching Jaina's for a sign of forgiveness. Nearby, Adele and the black-haired boy watch the adults, confused by the sudden display of closeness between their parents. Fearing his father's discovery, the boy says a quick goodbye to Adele before rushing back to his strict studies. The black-haired boy sprints away through the palace halls, leaving Adele standing alone in the bright, sunlit corridor. Jaina watches the boys retreat with wide eyes, a look of profound realization crossing her face regarding his true identity. Brushing aside her daughter's concern, Jaina insists they leave the estate immediately to return to the safety of home. Cecil kneels to apologize to Adele, reassuring the young girl that she is talented despite the magic stone's failure. Adele's face lights up with a radiant smile as Cecil gently pats her head, finally finding a moment of connection. Watching from the shadows, Cecil's aide expresses frustration, believing the prince is being completely manipulated by Jaina's presence. Out in the city, Irina and Adele enjoy a peaceful outing until a sinister voice identifies the young girl. A dark, looming shadow observes the unsuspecting child from the edge of the market, signaling an imminent and dangerous threat. Chaos erupts as a sudden sharp wah echoes when Adele is snatched by kidnappers, leaving Irina screaming in horror. Devastated, Irina bursts into the room to inform Jaina of the terrible kidnapping that occurred while they were out. Jaina's heart sinks as she learns 2 strangers abducted Adele and left behind an ominous handwritten ransom letter. Irina weeps uncontrollably, blaming her own negligence, while Jaina reads the demand for 500 silver coins. Examining the ransom note closely, Jaina's fear turns to sharp suspicion as she recognizes the peculiar quality of the paper. Realizing she is being lured into a trap, Jaina instructs Irina to stay behind while she investigates the source alone. Jaina arrives at a grand estate to find Lord Kaisi, who calmly claims the search for Adele is still ongoing. Jaina meets with the red-haired Aaron, insisting on making another request despite his advice to stay away. Aaron delivers the shocking news that Adele has been kidnapped, leaving the room in a heavy silence. With urgent authority, Aaron orders his subordinate to launch an immediate investigation into the young girl's disappearance. Aaron explains to Jaina that the perpetrators are a gang not typically associated with the human trafficking trade. Determined to save her daughter, Jaina asks Aaron for help, planning to negotiate with the kidnappers tonight. Aaron takes Jaina's hand in a formal gesture, promising his full cooperation in the dangerous task ahead.
Boasting of his extensive influence, Aaron reassures Jaina that no noble will stand in their way tonight. Elsewhere, Cecil orders his guards to protect Theodore while he departs for the palace to handle matters.
Cecil reacts with visible distress upon learning of the kidnapping, fearing for both Adele and Jaina's safety. An aide informs Cecil that a panicked Jaina is currently working with Irina to secure the ransom.
Cecil demands his people find Adele immediately, while a terrified Theodore listens from the doorway, fearing for his friend. A sudden bright flash emanates from a glowing shell on the floor, catching Theodore's attention in the hallway. Recognizing the shell as Adele's signal, Theodore realizes she is in danger and resolves to go save her.
Jaina arrives at an abandoned warehouse, shouting a demand for the kidnappers to reveal her daughter's location. Two men emerge from the shadows, meeting Jaina's gaze with arrogant, mocking smirks as she confronts them.
Jaina holds up a heavy bag of coins, confirming she has brought the full ransom as they demanded.
The bandits gloat over the money, marveling at how a village girl managed to acquire such a fortune. Jaina offers more gold in exchange for the identity and goals of the person who hired them. The lead kidnapper draws a knife, but Jaina quickly strikes back with a face full of her bewildering perfume. As the bandit stumbles in pain, Jaina prepares her next move, thankful she kept her crafted concoction handy. Pressing a blade to the man's throat, Jaina fiercely demands he take her to her child without delay. Her resolve wavers for a moment as she realizes Adele is not in the room, her fear intensifying. At the Yale estate, a maid informs the blonde Eleanor that the village girl has survived the encounter. Furious, Eleanor calls her subordinates useless before realizing her older brother has redirected the target elsewhere. A dark, thorny aura surrounds Eleanor as she contemplates the next step in her cruel and calculated plan. Eleanor coldly instructs the maid to find and eliminate the child, leaving no evidence of their involvement behind. In a dark corridor, a confused and blushing Adele wonders where she is and where Irina went. Tears fill Adele's eyes as she cries out for her mother, feeling small and alone in the shadows. A maid with a suspicious smile approaches Adele, claiming to be a friend sent to rescue her. Backing away in fear, Adele tells the woman she doesn't know her, sensing the danger in her presence. Adele calls the woman a liar and begins to run, realizing her mother's friends would never be there. The maid chases Adele through the garden, shouting for the young girl to stop running away from her. Theodore suddenly leaps in front of Adele, shielding her and warning the villain not to touch his friend. The maid sneers at the sight of another child, but Theodore's eyes begin to glow with a terrifying power. Protecting Adele with his life, Theodore's mana surges violently, his eyes reflecting a raw, desperate magic. A massive pillar of red energy erupts from Theodore, blasting outward as the maid stares in absolute shock. Theodore collapses from exhaustion into Adele's arms, his body spent after releasing the overwhelming surge of protective magic. Cecil senses the distinct fire dragon magic coming from the outskirts and realizes Theodore is in grave trouble. Palace staff inform a frantic Cecil that the young master has vanished completely from the estate's grounds. Confirming the magical signature belongs to Theodore, Cecil orders his troops to the outskirts to find the children. Jaina reaches a grand villa, her heart sinking as she recognizes it as the property of the Yale family. Inside, a man with long silver hair prepares a crossbow, intending to kill Jaina in Eleanor's place. He aims his weapon at her, but the tension breaks as he finally sees her face clearly. Dropping his guard, the silver-haired man pulls Jaina into a desperate hug, shocked by her sudden reappearance. He looks down in horror, realizing the village girl Eleanor wanted dead was actually his own sister.
Memories flicker back to his youth as the gifted Yale heir, always burdened by high family expectations.
Young Jaina is shown hiding behind a tree, watching her brother and Eleanor together in the garden. The brother reflects on how Jaina was considered a burden due to her lack of magical abilities. He recalls watching her sleep, seeing her as a beautiful but fragile porcelain doll in their mother's room. Holding Jaina tightly, the brother admits he always wanted to keep her precious beauty safe in his hands. The silver-haired brother tells Jaina to obey their father, promising to retrieve her and protect her soon. Memories reveal the brother's shock upon discovering Jaina was pregnant with Cecil's child 5 years ago. Enraged by the news, the brother demands Jaina get rid of the enemy's child without delay. Jaina stands her ground, choosing her child over her status as a noble daughter of the Yale family. In the present, the brother looks on with dark intensity, believing only he is truly kind to her.
Cecil's gaze sharpens as he hears the silver-haired man calling out for Jaina in the distance. A heavy silence falls as the silver-haired brother reflects on his sister with a somber, troubled expression. Plotting to reclaim his sister, the brother decides to forge a letter to Cecil using Jaina's handwriting. Thorny vines frame a memory of Jaina's departure, representing her betrayal of the harsh family expectations. The brother's despair is palpable as he recalls the moment he learned his pregnant sister had vanished. Distressed, the silver-haired man clutches his head, wondering why Jaina refuses to return to their family estate. Jaina stands amidst white flowers, her past and present choices weighing heavily upon her pink-haired form. Back in the present, Jaina pleads with her brother to return Adele, insisting the child is innocent. The brother gently cups Jaina's face, promising that he would never dream of harming the young girl. Confusion strikes Jaina as an aide asks the blonde Eleanor when they should finish the village woman off. Protecting his sister's dignity, the silver-haired man warns his subordinates against harming any lady of the Yale bloodline. Anxiety fills Jaina's eyes as she demands to know exactly where her daughter Adele is being kept. Realizing the gravity of the situation, the silver-haired brother promises to bring Adele back to his sister. The brother sharply rebukes the aide's nonsense, his eyes glowing with a cold, protective fury for Jaina. At the palace, a tearful Adele desperately begs the unconscious Theodore to stay with her and wake up. Cecil rushes to the scene, shouting the names of both children as he finds them in the garden. Cecil uses a gentle touch to calm Adele, reassuring the frightened girl that Theodore is safe now. Holding both exhausted children, Cecil vows that no one will ever lay a finger on them again. A physician informs Cecil that Theodore has no physical injuries, much to the prince's silent relief. The doctor suggests monitoring the boy, noting this is the first time his magic has surged uncontrollably. Cecil gazes at the sleeping boy, concerned that Theodore's fire dragon magic might fail again soon. Recalling Adele's protective nature, Cecil reflects on how similar the two children appear, almost like twins. Cecil questions the doctor about the detection of fire dragon magic and the reliability of their magic stones. Shaking off his suspicions, Cecil decides to return Adele to Jaina before she begins to worry. Cecil orders a guard to escort Adele home safely and increase the protection around Jaina's residence. At the villa, the silver-haired brother discovers the charred remains of the maid who attacked the children. An aide reports the magical surge and suspects that the crown prince's people took the child. Jaina watches the investigation with a stunned expression, grappling with the chaotic events that just unfolded. Turning to Jaina, the brother demands to know why she handed Adele to Eleanor without his permission. Jaina prepares to leave, telling her brother she must go now that she knows Adele is safe. The silver-haired man attempts to stop her, worrying about her safety and begging her to return home. Jaina firmly rejects the offer, stating she is no longer a daughter of the Yale family anymore. Desperate to make amends, the brother reminds Jaina that he is Adel's uncle and wants to help. Jaina asks him to keep Adel's existence a secret from their father as she walks away. Before departing, Jaina offers a small smile and promises to visit her brother again with Adele someday. The silver-haired brother accepts her terms, wishing her well while promising to keep her secret safe. He immediately orders his guards to escort Jaina home, ensuring she arrives at her destination safely. The grand Yale estate stands tall against a clear sky, hiding the secrets of the broken family. Eleanor approaches her brother, arrogantly asking if he successfully took care of the low-born village woman. The brother erupts in fury, questioning Eleanor's twisted admiration for Cecil and her cruelty toward the girl. He reveals that Cecil himself took action, warning Eleanor that her actions could have caused a disaster. Eleanor remains defiant and unrepentant, claiming her love for Lord Cecil justifies her hatred of the village woman. The brother clenches his forehead, realizing Eleanor has no idea that the woman she hates is Jaina. He formally bans Eleanor from leaving the estate for a week, forcing her to reflect on her actions. Tears of rage fill Eleanor's eyes as she plots to turn to the second prince for help. Under a full moon, Cecil cradles a sobbing Theodore in his arms, asking the boy what has caused him such distress. Cecil's mages explain the difficulty of finding a purification master within the 3-month deadline he has strictly set. Looking troubled, Cecil contemplates the past and wonders if it is finally time for Jaina to meet the young Theodore. Jaina pulls Adele into a tight, relieved embrace, thanking the heavens that her daughter returned home safely. Irina bows low in deep apology, regretting that her lack of vigilance put the young girl in such grave danger. To cheer her friends up, Adele flashes a bright smile and encourages Irina not to be so sad anymore. Overwhelmed with gratitude for Irina's loyalty and friendship, Jaina pulls the maid into a warm, sincere hug. Touched by the heartfelt gesture, Irina remarks on their close bond while returning the embrace with a soft smile. In a joyful chibi moment, Jaina, Adele, and Irina share a happy group hug as the atmosphere finally lightens. Jaina notices a shadow across Adele's face and gently asks her daughter what is weighing so heavily on her mind. Adele expresses deep concern for Theodore, fearing that he was seriously injured while he was trying to protect her. Recalling Cecil's mention of his nephew, Jaina agrees to Adele's request to bake a cake for the recovering boy. Adele and Jaina arrive at the palace, the young girl excitedly announcing their presence as they search for Theodore. Cecil lies unconscious on a sofa, having completely drained his mana while trying to stabilize Theodore throughout the night. An aide informs Jaina of the situation, suggesting they let the exhausted prince rest while he recovers his strength. Jaina worries about the critical state of both Cecil and Theodore, while Adele begs to visit the young boy's room. Watching Cecil sleep, Jaina's expression softens as she reflects on the depth of the prince's sacrifice for the child. Jaina gives Adele her blessing to wait for her friend, and the little girl happily accepts the instruction. Seeing the prince in such a vulnerable state, Jaina realizes his cold exterior hides a genuine kindness toward Theodore. As he sleeps, Cecil softly murmurs Jaina's name, revealing that she is the central figure in his heart and dreams. Hearing her name on his lips, Jaina's face flushes with a deep blush as she struggles with her confusing emotions. Suddenly waking, Cecil desperately clings to Jaina, pleading with her in his daze not to leave his side ever again. Cecil imagines a blissful future where Adele and Theodore run toward him in a flower field, joyfully calling him Papa. Back in reality, Jaina asks for the prince's permission to take both children on a fun outing to the city. A serene smile touches Jaina's lips as she waits for Cecil's response amidst the beautiful sun-drenched garden flowers. Cecil fully regains his senses and asks Jaina exactly when she arrived to check on his well-being. Standing together in the parlor, Jaina explains she only recently arrived while Cecil adjusts to being awake once more. Cecil sharply rebukes his aide for failing to wake him immediately when Jaina first arrived at the palace. Jaina interjects, explaining that she insisted he be allowed to rest due to his massive exhaustion from the previous night. In a playful chibi scene, Cecil confidently claims that a single night of rest is all he needs to recover. Jaina presents the scented sachet she bought specifically to aid in Theodore's recovery process, showing her thoughtfulness. Cecil stops Jaina, urgently wanting to explain his true motives for investigating Adele's bloodline and the secrets of the past. Jaina dismisses his concerns, stating she no longer blames him for his past suspicions regarding her daughter's mysterious background. A bittersweet realization strikes Jaina as she reflects on the fact that they shared 2 children during that time. Jaina prepares to depart, politely excusing herself now that she has delivered the medicinal sachets for the young boy. Clenching her arm, Cecile prepares to reveal the ultimate truth, that Theodore is actually their own biological son. The tense conversation is interrupted as a maid excitedly announces that the young master, Theodore, has finally woken up. Shifting to a few moments earlier, a maid asks Adele to wait in the adjacent room for her safety. Adele refuses to leave for food, determined to stay right where she is until her friend Theodore opens his eyes. Inside the room, mages panic as Theodore's mana begins to surge violently again, causing the poor boy great pain. Adele searches her memory for a way to help, recalling